What they do is, instead of taking it as and spinning it like, well, we had to back off, WWE, and they look like they got pushed out. No, they didn't get pushed out. They got bullied. WWE's become a bully.
Russo'sBrand.com, where the pros are the pros.
Well, when WWE announced Wrestlepalooza last month as its first pay-per-view on ESPN set for September 20th, the rumored main event of John Cena versus Brock Lesnar was the big topic of discussion. Of course, that has not been officially announced yet. And now AJ Lee's returned to the ring at that show, being spoiled by a WWE shop tweet, which I believe was AI. But the other interesting fact was it would directly be going head-to-head with AEW All Out. Well, that's no longer happening. AEW just moved the start time up to 3 p.m. in the afternoon instead of the original scheduled start time of 8 p.m. to avoid going head-to-head with WWE, just about 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks away from the show, which, people have already bought tickets for, probably made travel plans and all that.
Right.
Jeff, just to clarify something, what day is that on? A Saturday?
The 20th is, yes,
it's Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It's a little over 2 weeks away.
All right, Go ahead, Al. So a little over 2 weeks away, AEW is moving their start time like 5-6 hours earlier so they don't go head-to-head with the WWE. What's your take on that?
I think that's it's the smartest move they can do, considering that they were locked into the day itself. The only thing that they could adjust is to try to change up the start time. And I think it's a wise move. It's an acknowledgement of the fact that when it comes right down to it, they're not going to beat WWE going head to head. Yeah, we've talked about this numerous times. I've brought it up over the years. You can't out WWE, not just because of, let's face it, their immense amount of financial resources, but on top of that, all of their experience, all of their direct connections that they have within the entertainment industry. You're not going to beat them. It's just not going to happen. You've got four generations of not just experience and know-how. You have 4 generations of connections, influence, and then financial resources that are out the wazoo as far as the money that they've got that they can toss around and they can make last minute changes simply just if they wanted to. And it would not surprise me if WWE went, well, you know what? They're moving their start time to 3 p.m. We'll move ours to 3 p.m. And that way, and the only reason they wouldn't do it is because it would definitely come across like a very big dick move. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, it's clear now what they're trying to do. They can't deny it in any way, shape, or form. And that's the only reason I don't think they're doing it.
Al, here's my only, my biggest issue with this. So, Jeff, this is about 2.5 weeks before, right?
It was moved on the 2nd or 3rd, so about 17 to 18 days before the event.
And from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al, my only thing
was a big move.
But here's my thing. On such short notice, Al, you got a lot of people traveling to this. You got a lot of people that made travel plans around this. And, maybe they weren't getting in till later on in the afternoon. That to me, like, we always talk about, man, you really got to think about, your fans first and your fan base first. A lot, because we know, man, a lot of people fly to these events from all over the country. So to change something with just 2.5, week notice, Al.
Well, it's one thing to change an hour. To change 5 hours, that's a dramatic leap. And it could cause a lot of ill will amongst their fan base of people that, like you said, to your point, that have bought tickets, plane tickets, and and have made travel plans and were expecting that they were going to leave at a certain time during the day and then get there at a comfortable period of time that they would be able to walk in at 6 o'clock into the arena. Now they got to look and see if they can make it and walk in there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a big, big change. And that's a big, my AEW acknowledgement that the monster WWE has definitely intimidated him. They've backed off.
Al, let me ask you this.
Where's the we're at war speech that Tony Khan once made? You know,
There's only room for one con. Remember he said that? There's only room. Oh, I guess it's Nick. Well, Al, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this.
Hmm.
If OVW's in that same situation,
Yeah.
Al, 2.5 weeks out, I don't think you're changing the time 5-6 hours earlier. I don't think you're doing that.
No, it would be a death knell for the event. I mean, it would for us. You know, I don't know what it'll be for AEW, but you know, for us, I mean, for a fan base to try to adjust itself, you know, as far as, you know, expectations of, oh, we're gonna, you know, that show starts at 8:00, we'll get there, and they've made plans. It would create a lot of ill will that going forward would directly affect business, and I have a feeling that that's going to hurt them at least a little bit, you know, for a period of time going forward, as far as any other events are concerned.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about the overall perception and the overall look? Because what it does look like is they're running from the WWE because they can't compete. So how do you think that affects them down the line?
I think if they're smart, I think that they could use this to their advantage. Because didn't in Paris, didn't the fans start chanting, "We have no more money"? I think
so. I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
I think they all started chanting, "We have no more money," right? So now we're just starting to get a little bit of the tip of the iceberg of the backlash that's inevitably going to come at these ticket prices that have been raised to dramatic places. Okay, and we're going to start to see a little more heat with that as it goes along. Well, if AEW is smart, what they do is, instead of taking it as and spinning it like, well, we had to back off, you know, WWE, and they look like they got pushed out. No, they didn't get pushed out. They got bullied. WWE's become a bully. They don't just bully AEW, where they now don't care about the fans like AEW. WWE only cares about finances. WWE doesn't care about the WWE universe, because that's what they always say. It's fans first. Really, fans first? Well, it seems like it's profits first, because you're charging the fans more than they can bear, but they're still paying it because, you know, they're loyal to you, but you're clearly not loyal to them. You're clearly not loyal to the wrestling business, and you're clearly not loyal to the wrestling fans, because now you're bullying an alternative product to back off its start time from 8:00 to 3:00, and you're using your might, your weight to push people around, not just the other company. You're now also pushing that other company's fans around. You don't think there's going to be a backlash from that? If you could spin that very easily, with the growing resentment that is starting to happen in this country in regards to everything. The resentment against McDonald's, resentment against grocery stores, the resentment against Walmart for price gouging and using tariffs as an excuse. The resentment now of WWE and the incredible ticket prices that they've just recently increased. Oh, it's clear now. TKO is all about the money. TKO is not about wrestling. TKO is not about the wrestling fans. TKO isn't about, you know, good, healthy competition. TKO is about bullying. And now the WWE is about bullying. Let's go in and be the big schoolyard bully and throw our weight around. And we push, you know, the little engine that could, AEW, to where they so hard that they have to, at the last minute, change their start time just to even have a hope of drawing an audience on pay-per-view. That would be the take I would do. I would take it as the fact that, you know, and now get support from the fans of, hey, are you going to continue to just let WWE gouge you? You know, or are you going to come over here? You're going to come over here where, you know, Tony Khan cares about you. Tony Khan is fan friendly. Tony Khan wants a family of four to be able to afford to go to an event.
Al, can I tell you a statistic that freaking blew me away? Think about this, okay?
Yeah.
So at the Clash in Paris, they sold 30,000 tickets.
Okay.
And they drew the biggest house money-wise in the history of the building.
Okay.
So digest that for a second. 30,000 tickets, biggest gate ever. Taylor Swift comes in there. She sells 15,000 tickets more. So 45,000 compared to 30,000.
Yeah.
And her gate was less than you're talking about the biggest pop star on the planet sold 15,000 more tickets, and her gate was lower than the WWE. Is that not unfreaking believable?
But see, there you go. That is a great example of, now AEW spinning and using this to say that WWE no longer cares about their fans. They simply care about the profits, and they're price gouging everyone. Come over here. We still are the wrestling business. We're not some big corporation. I'm just a fan. Tony Khan, I'm just a fan. I love the business. I love the fans, because at the end of the day, I'm still just a fan. You don't think he could pull that off? Good Lord, he could, you know? If they have a marketing team over there that ain't, and if they're not listening to this, they should, because they're missing out.
It's funny, Al, because that's exactly what Vince did when Nitro took over. I'll never forget, Al.
He started playing the role of the victim.
Yeah.
He started claiming that Ted Turner, the billionaire, was a big bully and was trying to push him out of the business. And you had to support him, because otherwise you were supporting the big evil billionaire that would come to you someday and push you out too.
Yeah. He held a company-wide meeting, and that was the speech. And I was sitting there and I'm like, bro, wasn't this the guy that put every little territory out?
Oh, yeah. He came in and did the exact same thing.
Bro.
He came in and here's exactly how it occurred. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, he came in, he killed all the territory. He didn't kill them all. What he did was he came in, and at the time there were a lot of territories, because TV and wrestling were like a partnership. So local television stations usually didn't charge the local promotion for their hour of television, because they used it as, cheap content. It was a very mutually beneficial relationship. Television got content that they could then sell commercials, because it had a built-in audience. And then professional wrestling had a vehicle that they could now reach a much greater audience and use it as a commercial, there's that word, to promote their product, and then drive attendance at the live events and make the wrestlers look more like they were really stars. So it's great, very mutually beneficial. Then Vince came in, and then what he did was he'd go to that television station. He'd go, hey, are they paying you for it? No. I'll tell you what, I'll pay you if you put mine on, take theirs off. Well, that was step one. So a lot of those territories lost their main television platform, because Vince basically went in and didn't buy the territory. He bought the TV time. He paid for it. And that was where, it switched for the first time. Promoters were going to have to start paying for their television time. Then he went in and he took all the workers. This is important. He took all of the workers. Notice the word I'm using. He took all of the workers, all of the top guys that were able to draw money, guys that knew how to work. He stole them away with the promise of more money, which of course they're going to go for. It left only wrestlers primarily in the territories. Wrestlers can't draw money. Performers can't draw money. Workers do. And so that was what led to the demise of the territories, because of the fact that Vince had taken not only their television time, but then took their actual talent that knew how to be stars. And that's what led to the boom in the 80s, was a combination of Vince's being astute in putting WWF into a more mainstream light through his partnerships with MTV and et cetera, and getting the rub from mainstream celebrities. But it was also the fact that from up and down, from the top of the card to the bottom of the card, he had all the guys that knew how to draw money from the first match on. That there was nobody on that card that wasn't, a 10, 15, 20 year veteran that had been working 7 nights a week in the territories trying to draw a house. And that's what led to the big boom in the 80s. Yeah. And then the demise of the territories. to this day, because we now still have a business full of performers, wrestlers, and not any workers anymore.